Coming home in the evening, each day much on my mind. Fast.
Hi there, peace unto you. My name is Rashida Ali and welcome to Rashida TV, a place to be to gain practical tools on how to create tranquility in your heart. Now welcome to another episode of Rashida TV, and in today's episode I've got a special guest for us. My guest today is Tope Fajingbesi-Balogun. Tope Fajingbesi-Balogun is a Nigerian American social entrepreneur, independent financial management consultant, an inspirational speaker, a purpose-driven life teacher, and the author of the Amazon.com best-selling novel, Love in Cancun. She created and hosts Impact Africa, a radio program that inspires listeners to participate actively in African development through entrepreneurship and job creation, particularly for Africa's growing youth population. She also invests considerably time and energy into creating a better world for children from low-income families through the education, healthcare, and social welfare initiatives of United for Kids Foundation. Tope's main life mission is inspiring and empowering her tribe to find, fund, and fully unleash their purpose-driven lives so they can be the change makers that they were created to be. She merged her hobbies, that's traveling and writing, with a deep love for and commitment to her faith and home country, Nigeria. Tope had the honor of giving the field pitch at Miss Clinton's final presidential campaign rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan on November 7, 2016. Tope Fajingbesi-Balogun, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm honored to be here, and thank you for the work that you do.
Oh, yes. Yeah. For those who don't know you, I've always looked at your work, your books, and there's this consistency about, your legacy, about what you do and why you do. We're going to talk a lot about Tope's book, which is Soulful Whispers. We're going to really dive into this book. And I must tell you, if you don't have this book, that you need to get it. It's just so good. Like, you can just open it and just find something that's talking to you. So, just looking at the beginning of the book, it says my life's work is to inspire and empower my tribe to find, learn to fund, and fully unleash their purpose in the world, no matter what. So, what is this unleashing and, fulfilling? What's this all about? Can you tell us more about it?
So, when I hear people use the word unleash back to me, I get a vivid, description in my head of what I'm trying to say. So the first two parts of that life's work, to find, we're constantly trying to find. That's easy. The second part, to learn to fund. I'm an accountant by training. So for me, it's very important that even if you found what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to find the money to make the hustle happen. Yeah. But the third part is where, for us women, sometimes we often go through life like dogs on a leash. And that when you're, you people in the UK, this, you let your dogs go away without leashes, and that really annoys me. But in the US, sometimes you see an owner of the dog holding, and the dog is trying to play, but the owner is holding that dog. But once they get to a park and they physically let that leash go, you see that dog just entertaining him or herself, or entertaining people, and just really living through life. And that's how some of us behave. We are like those dogs on a leash. The thing that is pulling you, the owner of the dog that's pulling you, sometimes cultural baggage, sometimes it's our experiences, sometimes it's our fear, sometimes it's just the environment where we are. So I consider my job in life as somebody to help you understand that you need to let go. You need to just remove that collar and play through living that purpose that you found and how you've learned to fund it. So you just then play like that dog in a free park. So that's what I mean.
Wow, that is so beautiful. So just listening to you, when did this start? Has this been always talked, or is there something that triggered that? Because I know, that you're so passionate about this. The first time I even spoke to you, you were like ready to help me unleash. You were just like, and I was like, okay. So, I could see, and, you were like, sincerely, you told me, if there's any way I can help you, just call me, contact me. And I was like, wow, she's on fire. So has this been always, or what, why do you feel you need to help, your tribe to unleash?
So when we were preparing for this interview, I kind of thought that the question she might ask me would be this or that. But you've asked me 2 questions that I absolutely didn't prepare for. So this is very interesting. But I think that I've always had it in me to be this way. One of the things I remember from my childhood was my older sister. I have only one older sibling, and she's 2 years older than me, but she's very quiet. She's very quiet. When you see us, I am the one who's just going on, and she's just like really calm. And when we were younger, we used to go to brownies. And I remember that at brownies, she just used to feel so embarrassed because I used to always try to force her to do this, to stand up. Who wants to pray? And she doesn't want to raise up her hand. I'm trying to yank her hand up. Who wants to dance? I'm like, you need to do it. So for me, I think that has always been a part of me. But I don't think I clearly made it a mission. I didn't deliberately make it a mission until I went through some things myself. It took me moving to a new country at the age of 25, when I already started a career in Nigeria that was very good. I was already doing very well in Nigeria. And then I moved to this strange new country, and I had to kind of start from the bottom. So it took me understanding that brilliance is not the only ingredient you need to succeed. And then it also took me getting into a marriage that I didn't have any business getting into. And then struggling through that marriage for 3 years. And then eventually living by myself in my 30s as a divorced person for 4 years to understand what cultural baggage meant, what misunderstanding religion really can do to you, and really what it means to be in a free pack and be leashed. And so I had to work on myself and to free myself. And that process of freeing myself, however difficult it was, I realized that I couldn't keep this to myself. I couldn't. I had to make sure that other women who are going through what I'm going through, or who maybe, getting ready to go through what I went through, need to hear my voice. So.
Yes, it's so good. Like and I think you do really well. You can see that sincerity. So there's this, like I said, we're going to dwell into this book. There's this lovely, it's on page 29 that, when I read it every time, it kind of resonates with me. Maybe because I personally have always thought this is the way I see life. And I'll just read it for us. It's page 29. It says, never end a journey. So never end a journey until you leave a piece of you. Sow a seed and create a smile. Fall in love and wipe a tear. And when you wonder what to take back home, know that clothes fade and chocolates melt. But the stories you tell of the moments your heart was there will never be erased from the hearts that hear. Honestly, when I read this, it's just like, I think about it like, this has always been me. I always think whenever I meet someone, I always want to make sure I leave them with, smiles and, just something that they would never forget. Because I believe that if I see someone today, I don't know what tomorrow holds. And I don't know if I'm going to see them. And, it's just the memories that I hold wherever I go. And, you just think about someone and you just smile and you're just like, oh my God. So I always want to make sure whoever it is, whoever I meet, I leave them with that impact. So when I saw this, I thought, yes, never end the journey. So this is so beautiful. Can you just tell us what your take on it?
So first of all, I'll say that the picture on that page was taken in somewhere between Nevada and Utah, the state of Utah or Nevada, one of those 2 places. And it was my time as an auditor, actively auditing then, and I was driving, and I never thought that I would use the picture for anything. But when I wrote that poem in 2017, I thought about that picture and I had to bring it back to help people understand or to put a visual image. But I also want to say that about that poem, life itself is a series of journeys.
Mm.
And the ultimate journey is, begins when we close our eyes, breathe our last, and we go. So before you end that first phase of when your eyes are closed and everything is going to the next realm, it's very important to understand what you're leaving behind. So many of us are going to be building houses, buying cars, and there's nothing wrong with all of that. But you have to understand that when you are investing your time and your energy in something, I didn't say money, your time and your energy in something, is that what you want people to take away from this journey, your own unique journey of life? I think it was the CEO of Coca-Cola at some point, Roberto Goizueta, who said, and I will paraphrase it because I cannot remember his exact quote, but what he meant was, people are going to forget what you say to them, but they're never going to forget how you made them feel.
Yes, beautiful.
And imagine that I can't even remember his exact words, but I remember the message. And this is how we have to think about our interaction. How would people feel about my life, about my journey?
Yes.
So when you're reading this is not just, okay, I went abroad for vacation, so what am I going to bring back for my kids? Or I went to this is about the ultimate journey of life. And this life being a series of small journeys. So today, right now, as we're interacting, this is a significant part of both our journeys and the journeys of our audience when they listen to this and when they watch this. So you have to understand, how do I want people to feel when they listen to this?
Yes.
They don't have to quote me. They don't have to quote you. But they have to come away with a certain feeling. Yes. And when you are not deliberate about that, you're going to be living life like a dog on a leash.
Wow. Now, another beautiful quote that I really like, and because I always deal with relationships and we talk about love and all that. I read, and it's on the first page. It says, like trees, and it says, perhaps we should treat good relationships like trees. After all, we don't chop off the good ones in anger when they are dull and bare in the fall. We live and love them in spite of their bareness, because we remember, see, that's that part, because we remember that the same trees are full of beautiful leaves in the spring and provide shade and cool breeze in the summer. So, I don't even want to put my input, just tell us more about this. Like, obviously for you to have written this, because I know this book is mainly your own experiences and so why did you write that?
So this is very interesting, because right now, 8 years after I wrote that, 8 years after.
8 years.
Unfortunately, you can't see, but my husband is outside. He's sitting down in the on the deck, and the picture that is on that page, that particular picture, is the picture of that place. So I took the picture this year, but I wrote the poem 8 years ago.
Yes.
Now that tree is providing shade, so you can't see him from the outside. But if you look at the picture of that tree in this book, it's bare because it was taken maybe in the fall or in the winter. But now it's green and it is covering.
Yes.
But when I wrote this, I wrote it at a very difficult point in my life. I was in my first marriage then, and I was in a very, very, very tough place. And I think I had begun to think, should I leave or should I stay? And I started thinking, okay, should I chop off this marriage, this tree? Yes. Chop it off. This was just 1 year into that marriage. Yes. Should I chop it off? Or are there some benefits that I am deriving from this relationship?
Okay.
That when it is good. So, eventually I decided to chop the tree, but this poem has stayed with me because I have realized that even in work relationships and business relationships, family relationships, people are going to really, really annoy you. People are going to get on your nerves. Even the husband that you love is going to get on your nerves. The wife that you adore is going to get on your nerves. And you have to understand that you can't just make a decision in anger at that moment. When I write these things, I don't want just my own meaning Meaning, I want us to think about in our own life, also think about in the lives of the people that we admire, and see how we can then use it to write our own stories. So.
Yes. So what I can take from that is that, if you're in a relationship and obviously anything happens, you look at the good things before you, it's like more about compromising, isn't it? Because we all have, we're not perfect and we all have our problems. And if we, oh my God, if you think of, you want to use whatever, and whatever bad things anyone in a relationship does to you, you probably you won't even stay, I think. Yeah, look at the good things, goodness in them, and just maybe pick your battles, really.
Yes.
Good, amazing. So, obviously we're saying all these amazing things. Like, what if, someone is looking and listening and they're thinking like, okay, I've got all this, I feel this way, but how do I go about doing these things? Like, so I would put this question to you, like, you do so much amazing things. Like, how do you get the motivation? How do you get the courage?
You have to understand when your brain is getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
And to also be very, I remember when I was working in an energy trading company, and my boss one day came and said, we need to do this, we need to do that. And he was going on and on and on. And I just looked at him and I said, wait, is either of us a cardiologist? And he said, what? Where is that coming from? I said, none of us is about to do heart surgery and nobody is about to die. So you need to just chill. And for me, I think that is one of the things I always tell myself. I have all these multiple to-do lists. I have electronic ones. I have paper ones. I have this, I have that. But eventually, when my brain is getting hot, I say, just chill. This is going to be okay. And I think one thing I also want to tell people, and I honestly think I'm going to do a video about this. Sometimes the reason why we get demotivated when we're trying to strive and do work is because we feel nobody's being served by what I'm doing. Okay, maybe you put out a video, you put out this video, and maybe only 5 people watch it. And you start feeling bad, like nobody's watching. I'm doing this, I'm trying to serve this particular demographic, but they're not clicking. So we, as humans, we get demotivated.
Yes.
But we have to understand one thing, that putting a timeline to when our work has to succeed is the ultimate mark of failure. You think that you're recording this video for today's audience. What if you're recording it for your children's children? What if that is the time when it's going to get a mega million views and you're already in your grave? And everyone who clicks on it at the time is sending prayers to you. Who says that it is for now? There was a video I did on March, I can't remember the date, but March 2016. I remember the month because I was in an Islamic conference in Virginia. And I went to my hotel room for a break and I saw something on Instagram or something, and it was just something so shallow and so materialistic. And I was so irritated that I just took my hijab. I promise you, somebody in your audience has seen that video. I was wearing a green hijab. And I just draped my hijab, put my phone in front of me and leaned back on my bed, and I started talking about how we should keep life simple.
Yes.
This was March 2016. I think I posted it on my platforms, Facebook, YouTube. I'm not even sure it got 100 views. I'm not sure. But there is hardly a public place I go in America, in London, in Nigeria, wherever, that people don't come and show me that video.
Wow. Somehow
it got extracted to people's phones. I've gotten it from my mother's twin sister twice. I've gotten it from my siblings. Every time it's not a joke in my family. Somebody has sent this video. But if I looked at it the day I did it, and I thought, oh, but nobody is talking about it. Nobody is hearing the message I'm trying to pass. I will not be motivated to do anything else.
No.
But I went to an event last weekend. A lady, she came from Florida to Maryland to the event, and she looked at me and said, I just need to ask you a question. Are you the one who is in this video? I said, it's me. This thing has gotten a life of its own. So never mark your success or failure by what is happening now, because all you have to do is just to show up. The audience is as created by Allah, is as the Allah. The timing is the way Allah already ordained it. Just do your best.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. Like,
Thank you.
it's like you're talking to me, honestly, because sometimes, like you said, we do these videos and, you know, you look at the views and you're like, oh, okay, what's the bother? But then you have to always remember, like you said, it might not be now. And, you know, some people, like you see them, they've done their videos for a long, long time. And it's just like now they're even known. Maybe something just triggered and people just click on it. So I think I'm taking that with me. Like, don't, just do it, not for now. You never know when the audience is, and also just show up. That's just amazing.
Just show up. Just when you live a life of purpose and live life on purpose, you're always on duty. You're always on duty. Whether you are interacting with your family, or you're interacting with strangers, or you're trying to develop a business, you're always on duty if your life is of purpose and on purpose.
Yes.
And you don't know when that big break that you were seeking is going to be in front of you. So never look at your success or your failure based on what is happening today. You show up, do good videos, be authentic, be on point and on purpose, but let Allah choose the audience.
Very inspirational. So now what I want to ask you is, with all this, you know, your schedule, I know you are busy and everything. How do you juggle this with family life? Like, how do you manage it? Like, because I know there's some people out there, maybe they're in that space right now, and they're so busy and they're probably struggling maybe with kids or with a spouse, or maybe they're about to start to achieve things like this, but then they are scared of, like, oh my God, how is it going to happen? Like, is it going to affect me? So how do you try to juggle this? And, or is it like, is your spouse like as busy as you are? Do you work together? Or, you know, how do you manage it?
So first of all, when I started this work, really started consciously, two things happened. The first one is I quit my full-time job as an accountant. I did. I used to have a very busy life as an accountant, always traveling, but I quit it because I wanted flexibility. So I still do accounting, but very, very, maybe 16 hours a week. And that means less money for me. But you have to decide what you want and how much of it you want. I know that if I was traveling on location to audit or do something on Mondays and coming back on Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, all I want to do is to sleep. So I have consciously decided to forgo that money to give myself the flexibility. That's number one. Number two, I also wanted to be sure and ascertain what my tribe was before I got married the second time. Because in this question that you've asked, most of the time it's not even about our kids, it's about the spouses. It's about the spouses. And one of the things that I did the first time, I think I wasn't really clear about who I was. And I don't care how old you are, you have no business getting married if you don't know who you are. You have absolutely no business getting married. So I wanted to be clear about who I am, who I'm trying to serve, and how I'm trying to serve them. So that if I'm getting into a marriage, I am clear with my spouse about the concessions I will need and how we will make it happen. So when I met my husband, the first thing I told him was, let me explain something to you. I'm a butterfly. Today, I'm in Japan. Tomorrow, I'm in Australia. Does it work for your government? If it doesn't work for your government, let's know now so that we don't even begin to shout up and down. And he said, because I know where you are, and when you are home, I have your full attention. Alhamdulillah. And he has been true to his word regarding that. So I think that is very, very critical. I think it's very important to be clear about your own self. Because one thing that we women don't understand is that marriage is a business contract too. It's a business contract.
Wow.
We'll be entering the marriage as if we're doing emotional contract. No. I'm not saying don't love your spouse, but You need to understand if it works for you. I
Yeah.
wrote something on Facebook once and it was so controversial. In fact, somebody removed me as a friend and I was like, okay, well, so long. I said, a woman has to understand they're getting married. You have to see yourself as a COO, Chief Operating Officer of a Fortune 500 organization who is trying to hire a CEO.
Okay.
And let me give you a classic example. Mobile CEO trying to hire a CEO. ExxonMobil, BP, Deloitte, all of these big giants trying to hire CEO.
Yes.
You cannot hire a CEO who has no experience and whose word you cannot take and whose vision is not aligned with yours. It cannot work, because if you do that, your company is going to crash.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the CEO has the final say. So if you're going to hire a man as a CEO of this your empire, and he's a firefighter in the sense of every time your light comes out, he has to kill it with his fire extinguisher, you have entered one chance. So it can't work. But if you understand that your tribe is to serve only two people, that is your spouse and your one child, what is it? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And if you marry a man who is like, okay, you know what, since we are your tribe, since you are clear that this is where you want to go, then it's okay if you don't work, it's okay if this is okay. The problem in life for us is not determining who our tribes are and not determining who we are and then trying to be somebody else. I hate when people say, when people say, oh, I want to be like somebody. No, you can't be like somebody because the person has a different tribe.
Yes.
Very, very critical.
Yes. So, that's really important. Like, saying when you know yourself and then know your tribe that you want to serve. And like you said, asking, your spouse and like telling them who you are and what you want to do. Now, what if there is someone who before, she got married, she didn't know who she was. We have some people, and then during that process of maybe I don't know what it is, self-realization, going for courses, speaking to people, you find out who you are. Now, how do you manage that? Because don't forget, you've gone into that marriage and your spouse didn't know who you were, and you guys probably had that agreement of, your kids, but then because you didn't know. So how do you manage that? Like, because then if you say, okay, well, I want to be like this, I want to serve these people, and then it's like, well, that's not who I married, or that's not who I want. What do you do? Do you leave, or do you, like, in your own view, how do you manage that kind of situation?
When you're going to marry somebody, whether you know your purpose or not, it's good if you know your purpose. If you're watching this and you don't know who you are, please first of all find out before you listen to that brother. However, the first criteria for marriage is that the person is a nice person. That the person is nice. You have no business marrying somebody who is not nice. And what you think was you discovering your purpose and you people now having friction, is not the purpose that's causing the friction. What is causing the friction is that the person is not a nice person. A nice man is not afraid of a woman who discovers who she is. No. So as long as what your wife is trying to do is not haram, you have no reason to be going around like a masquerade in the village. However, if your husband is going around like a masquerade in the village, the first question is he a nice person?
Yeah.
If he's a nice person, is he scared? The things I fear most in life are dogs. I don't like dogs at all. But I've noticed something about dogs. If there are 4 of us working, they come to me. Because they know I'm afraid. They know. So when you're trying to tell your husband that you want to conquer the world, you want to open the biggest amusement park after Disney World, I mean before Disney World, and he's seeing you, you're scared. He's seeing you, you're insecure. He's seeing you, you're unsure. What you are seeing back, as long as he's a nice guy, what you're seeing from him is not that he's not supportive, is that he has caught on to your fear and he's now backing. Fear is different from seeking encouragement. You have to come with a baseline. I'm sure this is who I am, first of all. Not today, I want to be the next social entrepreneur for Disney. Next thing, tomorrow, I want to be the biggest book author after the Harry Potter lady. The next day, I want to just be at home. The guy is confused. He's like, what exactly do you want to be?
Yes.
You keep, or giving you something to start a business. You've borrowed the money to everybody. You've turned yourself into a community bank. It will now come tomorrow. So the first thing is that, is he nice? If he's nice, if he's kind, if he's God-fearing, then check how you are delivering the message.
Yes.
Of purpose, because you might be making him scared.
Yes. Yeah, that's really true. And I think I did a video on that as well, like how to make people accept your goals. And because like you said, it's really important. Sometimes it's not like they don't want to support you, but it's just that they've seen you and they're like, really? You can't even cope with yourself, like and you want to. Maybe you've just watched the inspirational video. They're like, did you see Tope doing the CEO? We're gonna talk about it. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to be on there. He's like, please. So, and they're like, oh, you don't even love me. You don't even want to support me. And it's like, so like, it's true. Sometimes we need to actually check ourselves. And like you said earlier, know who you really are. And if you know who you are, and you really, you're sure of who you are, and even in the beginning, if they don't actually trust you or they feel like you can't do it, if you're persistent and you're working towards it, they can see your passion, then, I'm sure, like you said, a nice person and a reasonable man will support you. So I think that is really true. Sometimes we need to really work on ourselves first. So let's go to your event. So it's the CEO. First of all, that name, CEO. When I heard it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So tell our viewers, what is the CEO? Why that name? Because I don't think I've asked you before about that name. So I want to know, why is the CEO? What is it about?
So first of all, for those in the UK, I should thank you for that name, CEO, because I came up with it in 2014 when I was actually in Oxford.
Oh, okay.
And so it just came from nowhere. But the whole idea came in 2014, but I didn't execute on 2017. I was scared to execute. I thought, I'm just not big enough for whatever I'm trying to do. But CEO is replacing the C in CEO with she. So instead of saying is the chief executive officer, I'm saying she's the she executive officer. That means that you are the CEO of your life. And you have to run it the way you and your creator see fit. But ultimately, that decision is yours.
Yes.
You might consider people, you might consider, all kinds of things, but eventually, your children, your spouse, your parents, your community should not be the CEO of your life. You should be the CEO of your life. So at CEO, what we do is that we create a safe space for conversations that matter.
Okay.
Conversations that women like us, women of color, do not talk about.
Okay.
We go there, really go there. We're going to have 13 speakers.
Okay.
But they don't speak. We ask them questions. They don't have presentations. So they have questions that they're going to answer, and they sit on the hot seat.
Okay.
And they have to answer hot questions.
Oh my God.
Yes, but the ultimate goal of these questions is for your answer to inspire somebody.
Somebody else.
So we're going to talk about relationships. Not what you heard from Rashida TV. Not what you heard from Tope when she was talking. We're going to talk about what you've experienced. What has worked for you and what have you failed woefully at? And if you turn it around, how and why? We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about mental health.
Okay.
As Africans, wherever we are, whether we're living in the UK, in the US, or in Nigeria, as Africans, we are always very shy to talk about mental health.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we have so many people, so many of our mothers who are suffering from depression and anxiety.
Yes.
And so when you go to your mom or you go to your aunt and you say, you know, my husband is acting crazy. Say, the Christians will say, a wise woman builds her home, a foolish woman tears it down. You go to the Muslims and say, hey, your paradise lies at the feet of your husband. They just come with these blanket things that just send you into, you know, a world of craziness. We won't talk about it. So usually at Shio, we bring psychotherapists to really help us to break down at what point do I know that I'm going crazy and what's the first aid? What should I do?
Yes.
What if it's somebody else in my life who is going, you know, who has issues? What should we do? We won't talk about suicide.
Yeah.
People commit suicide. In Lagos now, it's no longer news that you see people, they will jump from Palomo Bridge or they'll jump from Third Mainland Bridge.
Yes.
We won't talk about that. What is making us commit suicide? What should we do? What, you know, not just, thank God for what you have. Hey, there's a hadith that's, no, yeah, I hear it. But if somebody is depressed, they're not thinking about that hadith.
Yes.
So let's find practical solutions. And then we also want to talk about very important career, purpose, and impact.
Yes.
These three things they're very critical. Your career, not necessarily your purpose right now.
Yes.
Your purpose, you might not be making the kind of impact that you want to make. But how can you make these three things, you know, really work? And we'll talk to people who have been doing it to an extent. And then finally, we'll talk about wealth. I mean, we need richer women.
Yes.
Yes, we need richer women. And whether you're making that money from inside your bedroom or you're making the money from an office,
yes,
whether you are a solopreneur or you have to go into partnerships, I want Shio to be the place where ideas are born and we hear from people who are hustling the trade. So my goal, inshallah, is to take Shio to every major city in the world where there are African immigrant women.
Great.
And of course, in the continent of Africa as well. So, like I said, this is the third edition. We started in Columbia, Maryland last year. We were in Lagos, Nigeria in January. Now we're back in Maryland this year. And inshallah, we will go on and on and on. May Allah give us strength.
Good. Oh, that's so inspiring. And it's a good cause, especially I like the idea of, you know, people being able to ask the speakers the questions, like not them saying it, because then sometimes, you know, people just say it, but then you have things that you want to like really ask. So being able to pose the question onto them, that's a good idea. I love that. Now, another project that you do that really inspires me is your charity that you run, which is a United Kids Foundation. And, you know, I read about how the kids are really progressing. And it's not just like, you know, any charity. It's like you can see that love and that care that goes into that. Maybe if there's someone who wants to run a charity, or how do you choose, first of all, like, okay, this is what I want to do? Is it through your passion, or is it because this is what is needed in the society? And also, how do you maintain it? Because starting something is easy, but maintaining it is another thing. So yeah.
We're recording this on a Monday, right? And on Mondays is when I have my meeting with the staff in Nigeria. So alhamdulillah, I still have my voice, because sometimes I'm like yelling, shouting, blah, blah. I love how it looks good on the outside, but we yell, scream, shout, blah, 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 you know. But I have to say, number one, alhamdulillah, that Allah gave me and my team this mission.
Yeah.
Now, how do you make this manifest in real life? The way you do this is to make sure that you are trustworthy.
Yes.
You're trustworthy. One thing I know about Nigerians is that once they know they can trust you with their money, once they know that you are not gallivanting with their money, they will give you their last kobo for you to do good. So if you are out there and you're trying to start a non-profit organization, the first question I will ask you is, must you start one, or can you help one?
Okay.
Because United for Kids Foundation will be dead if it had to be just me doing it. Secondly, the second question you should ask yourself is, can you hold on, do some work, however little, make a small impact, and see how you can use that to raise money and to build credibility.
Yes.
Most of the time, we want to start something and we want to go here.
Go, yeah. Oh, yes.
No.
Wow. So as we wrap up, I want to ask you, like, I'd love to hear your take about how, the power of believing that we're worth whatever we want to do. So we've talked about so many things. We've covered, amazing things here. But what's your take on, what would you tell our viewers on how to, believe that, whatever you want to do, you deserve it. You're worth it. And how do we believe we're the CEO? I love that.
Yeah, the CEO of your life. So first of all, the first way is do not get an idea without writing it down.
Okay.
Do not. Practice how to. If I could show you under my desk right now, I have about 20 journals stacked.
Wow.
And if I showed you my bag, like I always have something to write with. You must always write down your dreams. When you write down your dreams and you write down your ideas, you breathe life into it. You've given it life. You've created something. And once you have created that thing, the day it happens, it will not be hard for you to believe. But if it comes to your head and you dream about it, you have this romantic relationship with it in your head, it will go because your head can only take so much.
Yes.
The day it happens, you say, maybe I didn't think about it. Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it was just a figment of my imagination. When I met my husband, alhamdulillah, 2 weeks before I spoke with him, I had told somebody via WhatsApp, I had written it down. I said, this is what I want. I had come back from Cancun, written love in Cancun, and I had wrote up this man that was just, this my idea. And I was like, I like the man I wrote up in Cancun. So I'm going to just find him in real life, except that it didn't look like it ever existed. So I was talking to a friend of mine and I was writing down, I like the difference in love in Cancun. So I'm going to add to this man's age. He must be 10 years older than me. He must have 2 kids already. He must be either divorced or widowed, blah, blah. When I was introduced to my husband 2 weeks after, and I asked all the questions and he checked all the boxes, including the job the man in love in Cancun had, which was a travel agent.
God.
I had to go back, first of all, to my WhatsApp and take the screenshot. I was like, wait, I really did write this 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
If I didn't write it, I would not have thought that it was my dream. I would not have recognized the dream. I would not have embraced the man. But because I wrote it down, when it appeared, I could find it. One last thing I want to say about, your dream and believing is to understand one thing. You're not going to achieve, or you're not worthy of that achievement because you're a good person. Or because you're a hardworking hustler. No. You're worthy of that achievement because Allah is all merciful. Because sometimes if you think about the effort that you're putting in,
yes,
you will start thinking, I'm not deserving.
Yes.
So once you take that pressure off yourself, that yes, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to try, I'm going to pray, I'm going to do all those things, but eventually I would get all that was supposed to come to me. It makes it easier for you to when the big things come.
Of course. So. Yes. Wow. I just want to go on and on. You're such an inspirational person, and I truly, really, really appreciate it. If any of our viewers want to work with you, or they want to, come for your shows or anything, like, how do they get in touch with you? Like, can you tell us? Yeah.
So, easiest way to get in touch with me is to go to my website, ganiya.com. GANIYAH.com, Ganiya.com. You can fill the contact form there. I personally check it. So don't think, if she goes there, she doesn't check. No, I check that. That comes straight to my email and I will respond, inshallah, or call. You can also email me at tope@ganiya.com. Tope is TOPE @Ganiya, GANIYAH.com. My assistant often checks that, but if there's anything important, she will send it to me. But I try to reply my emails. Find me on social media, not on my personal page, but on Ganiya, on House of Ganiya on Facebook. I respond. I try to check that as much as I can. Anything I'm doing, wherever I'm doing it, if it's in UK, Nigeria, wherever the hustle is, you bet is on Ganiya.com.
Okay, that's the smashing. Ghania.com has got everything. Thank you so much again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I do really
Thank you
appreciate
for having me. Really a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
So guys, this is all we've got for you today, and I hope you've really enjoyed this interview as much as I have. Now it's your turn. Tope and I would love to hear from you. Would love to know what has been your biggest insight that you're taking away from today's interview. Please leave a comment below. Did you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and please share with your friends and families. Remember, having tranquility in your heart is the key ingredient to having a successful and a happy life. Thank you so much for watching, and God willing, I'll catch you on the next episode of Rashida TV.
Coming home in the evening, each day much on my mind.